evening, Arab Love viewers. You are watching on Live RTD channel. Welcome to this English news edition. Here are the top stories. Thousands of young people converge over the Police Palace headquarters. For the international scene, a food shortage due to the blockade in Gaza Strip. Those were the headlines. Thanks for joining us in our newsroom. In Washington, the Djibouti's Minister of Economic and Finance in charge of industry, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dewali, participated in panelists the event of driving food security and job in Africa, the Transport Imperative, held on April 24, 2025 as part of the World Bank's annual spring meeting. The event, moderated by Lana Wang, brought together high-level experts and decision-makers. In his remarks, the Minister of Economic and Finance of Djibouti highlighted the specific challenges faced by the port of Djibouti, a key hub for regional and international trade. He highlighted the transportation and the directed impact of food security in the Horn of Africa, while outlining the measure the Djibouti government is implementing to address these issues. Also in Washington, the Minister of Economic and Finance in charge of industry, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dewali, the Governor of the Central Bank of Djibouti, Mr. Ahmed Ousmane, participated in an important meeting bringing together finance ministers and central bank governors from the Arab countries of the Middle East and North Africa region. With the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, this meeting was part of the IMF World Bank Group's spring meeting being held in Washington. The main objective of this meeting was to examine the major economic and financial challenges that the African countries and East African countries are facing in the current context marked by the lingering aftermath of the global crisis. The discussion provides an opportunity to exchange views on the policies needed to promote inclusive and sustainable growth. Participants also discussed the roles of international financial institutions in supporting economic reform, but also the program and building resilience to the various economic crises. And now the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training officially launched the National Week of Volunteering and Civic Action yesterday. The program was held directed by the association. For more details with our colleague Aisha Abdilay.
Of Unity launched its national relay a few minutes after the town of Hayu. After being read out by a pupil in Afar, the pledge was given a standing ovation by an enthusiastic crowd who then accompanied the procession of pupils to the exit of the town of Dakhil, which continued toward Mulud and then headed toward the Dakhil Al-Sabih junction. The region of Al-Sabih, famous for its long-distance runners, came out in force to attend the launch of the national relay. After the speeches by the officials, the community of Al-Sabih was surprised and proud to hear the reading in Afar of the pledge of commitment by a student to defend citizenship and promote voluntary work. First of its kind, national relay relies on new technologies, and APEPS has innovated by using civilian drones to transport and relay the oaths read out by pupils in each administrative center. At the end of the reading of the oaths by the people from Assajog, the procession of pupils from the region was joined by the Dakhil procession at the Dakhil Al-Sabih junction. The two processions from Dakhil and Al-Sabih then began their long journey together toward the Grand Barra, which took them to Piquet 51. At this point, the procession from Dakhil and Al-Sabih joined forces with those from Oboh and Tajura.
In the same context, Oboh region hosted the event of launching the working activities of national program. Detail with our colleague Aisha Abdilay.
Of Hayu, located in the northern of Djibouti, had the honor of inaugurating the National Relay as part of National Volunteer and Civic Week organized by the APEPS. The ceremony began at 7 a.m. in the presence of the prefect and the president of the regional council. The prefect opened the event by emphasizing the importance of the values of citizenship, goodwill, and patriotism which constitute a bulwark against the challenges facing Djiboutian youth. He then kicked off the relay by joining the Oboh student relays. Draped in the national flag, the torch bearer left the city, beginning a long journey to Tadjoura. The later nicknamed the White City, warmly welcomed the Oboh relays, marking the beginning of its own ceremony with the speeches from regional authorities. The procession of students from Tadjoura in communion with those from Oboh set off toward PK9 before continuing together to PK51 amid two magnificent landscapes of the Tadjoura region, including the Devils Island, Lake Assal, and Gubit. The northern torchbearer had the opportunity to connect with their classmates from Al Sabih and Dakhil. This event not only celebrated the spirit of solidarity between the regions, but also reinforced the young people's commitment to the fundamental values that unite the Djiboutian nation.
The Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training present in the capital a large event intended to launch the National Week of Responsibility and Civic Activities. For more detail, with our colleague Aisha Abdilay.
It was also officially inaugurated at 4 p.m. at Djibouti City, marking the start of a new initiative designed to strengthen links between students in the capital and those in the regions. Two separate routes were established for the occasion. The first, starting at Menfor, brought together pupils from the capital, while the second, starting at the PK13 roundabout, welcomed young people from the regions. The route, devised by APEPS experts, enabled pupils from Djibouti to unite with their peers from other regions in a spirit of brotherhood and solidarity. The relay began with a route through the commune of Blaus, where pupils from the capital joined those from the region at the Palmar EDD roundabout. Together, they then walked along the route of Venice, proudly waving Djibouti's flag. This symbolic gesture illustrated their attachment to the national unity and their homeland. The event, part of a series of initiatives designed to promote social cohesion, was held by a number of prominent figures. The merger with ARTA was also highlighted as an important step in the development of a supportive educational network.
Following the success of the rally of the students, all the interior region and the countries in the capital, nearly 1,500 people gather on the People's Palace to celebrate volunteerism and civic duty. Students from the 5 regions, accompanied by nearly 300 classmates from the Hotel Scale International, roundabout coverage on these iconic issues, where musical entertainment and artistic performance awaited them. Upon their arrival, the students were warmly welcomed by an enthusiastic audience of nearly 1,000 students. A representative from the 5 regions took the floor to read their oath, affirming their commitment to the Djiboutian people. This moment was widely covered in the media, on the social media.
waa in ubadka lagu barbaarsho, waa in iskuulada lagu baraa, wax wada qabsiga bulshada iyo muhiimiyad waa wadan jacaylka.
After the celebration of the Day of the Volunteerism and Civic Duty, all the students from the interior region passed to the a reading of their oath affirming their commitment to the Djiboutian people. This moment was widely covered in the media and mark this ceremony. Students from the north recite their oath in Somali and Afar language, and students from Arta in Arabic and demonstrate their mastery of the national language and their attachment to the culture of their country. A notable innovation of this event was the introduction of the oath delivered by captivating of young people in attendance. And now the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, in his speech emphasized the importance of the values of citizenship, volunteerism and patriotism, which will be at the heart of the National Volunteer and Civic Week. The minister did not miss to celebrate all the effort made by his ministry and all the organizer of this beautiful event. Finally, the minister affirmed that the civic activities will continue throughout the week and will culminate on Wednesday, April 30, with the creation of a civic club in all schools that's strengthening young people's commitment to their community and their country. Today, the Talasan Association held a project lunch workshop for young people working to combat gender-based violence at the Chariton Hotel, founded by the European Union. This ambitious project directly target young people as 13. With the aim of raising awareness and mobilizing team against all forms of gender-based violence. This event brought together several speakers from the volunteer, educational and institutional sectors who unanimously emphasized the importance of taking early action to prevent violence and stereotype and promote a culture of respect and equality. The project include a training session, awareness raising campaign, and creation of a space for dialogue to enable young people to express themselves and become true agents of change within their communities. During this workshop, the ambassador of the AU accredited in Djibouti emphasized in her speech the importance of taking action from an early age to prevent violence and stereotype and foster a culture of respect and equality. This project, she said, is part of national and international effort to combat violence and represent an important step toward a future where every young person can grow up in safety and dignity, she concluded. The president of the association, in her speech, emphasized the role of the government and in particular that of the Ministry of Women and Family. She also affirmed that the ministry have been working for many years throughout various public policies to protect women's rights and prevent gender-based violence and in order to promote equality. Its commitment, she said, and institutional support are essential to ensure the success and sustainability of such an initiative. And now the National Union of Djibouti Women and the Women's Sport Complex held an awareness-raising session on gender-based violence yesterday afternoon. A key presentation was given by the UNFD trainer. Gender-based violence consists of all forms of physical, sexual, emotional, psychological, economic, and educational abuse and threat against an individual based on their gender or sexual identity. the UNFD project coordinator and the director of Women's Sport Complex, and participants were present at this event. The complex's trainer gave a demonstration on how to defend themselves in case of violence. The beneficiaries of this awareness raising session indicate that they learned several things about gender-based violence and how to defend themselves. The second day of the interministerial tournament organized by the State Secretariat for Sport lived up to expectation. In closely contested Group B match, the Presidency and the Ministry of Higher Education and Research drew. It was an intense duel marked by great sports sponsorship on both sides. For its part, the Minister of Women and Family put in a strong performance, defeating the Minister of Communication, Post and Telecommunication. This victory confirmed their strong competition. As for the other three matches scheduled in this group, they were won by the opposing team were unable to attend. Furthermore, the Minister of Interior defeated the Minister of Health, while National Assembly defeated the Minister of Cities, Urban Planning and Housing. On the occasion of the second day of the interministerial tournament, Mr. Abshir Hassan, Director of Sport of State and Secretariat, praised the team's commitment and positive observations since the competition is launched. In his speech, he recalled that this tournament marks the official resumption of inter-institutional sports activities after a period of match. He warmly congratulated all the participant team for their spirit of fair play, their motivation, and their honorable representation of their respective ministries. After touring the north and south of the country, the winner of Grand Prix of the President, Mr. Abdul Qadir Humad, made a working visit to the region of Arta. Today, he was warmly welcomed in his office by the Prefect Hassan Dabali, a man passionate about sport, as well as by the Secretary General of the Regional Council. During his meeting, the Prefect stated, "I'm determined to support this project, which aims to promote the inclusion of people with disability in our society. The main objective of this visit is to raise public awareness of the importance of disabled sport people." Mr. Abdul Qadir Humad, winner of the Grand Prize of the President, emphasized the need to mobilize families and communities to encourage children and neighbors with disability to participate in a sports facility. For his part, the Secretary General of the Regional Council emphasized in his commitment to support people with special need in the field of disabled sport by implementing initiatives to promote their active participation. He said, "My thanks goes first to the President of the Republic and entrusted me with this task, then the Secretary of State for Sport, and also the Secretary General of the Regional Council and everyone present for their welcome and their commitment to the inclusion of people with a special need." And now for the international scene, the global force displacement of crisis, UN calls for coordinate and sustained action in Gaza Strip. The food stock depleted due to the Israeli blockade. For more detail, with our colleague Aisha Abdullah.
The situation in Gaza, particularly in relation to food stocks being depleted due to Israel's blockade, is a dire and urgent humanitarian crisis. The blockade, which has been in place for many years, restricts the movement of goods, including essential supplies like food, fuel, and medicines into Gaza. This has led to significant shortages of basic goods, causing widespread suffering among the population. As of recent reports, Many people in Gaza are facing severe food insecurity. The blockade limits access to food imports, and the local agricultural sector has been severely impacted by the lack of resources, infrastructure, and the frequent disruptions caused by conflicts. International agencies, including the UN and the World Food Programme, has been calling for immediate action to provide humanitarian aid and ease the restriction on goods entering Gaza.
This is it for this edition. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening.